Today we will be studying about the age of revolutions. See, when democracy had been overthrown in France, it was like the people had tasted blood. They had known what it is to decide for themselves. They had known what it is to have a say in the formation of government. So, after when Napoleon was overthrown and the Bourbon dynasty was reinstalled in France, the it was a autocratic rule. Matlab, the people were more suppressed by the conservative forces, and at this time, people did not accept it. And that's the reason July 1830, the Bourbon dynasty, which was restored, was overthrown by the liberal nationalists, revolutionaries, who installed a constitutional monarchy. See here, who installed a constitutional monarchy in France. And as Metternich has said, when France sneezes, the rest of Europe catches a cold. So, the July Revolution, which sparked an uprising, led to Belgium breaking away from the United Kingdom. But then it did not stop there. See, Greece has been one of the most important civilizations. It has been one of the, what I should say, it is the cradle of any civilization. It has given a huge amount of knowledge to the world. And when Greece was taken over by the Ottoman Empire, they ruled right from 15th century. And over a period of time, there was decay in the Ottoman Empire. And naturally, the people of Greece started demanding their independence, which the Ottoman Turks did not want to give. They said that Greece had never been free. They had always been under the Ottoman Empire. But the Greeks, they showed their history, and they were supported by the people of Greece who were in exile, and also the thinkers, the writers of Europe who demanded their independence. See, in fact, even in the war, there were the writers and the poets. Can you imagine the poets and the writers going and fighting the war, the thinkers going and fighting a war? But Greece was helped by most of the people in Europe, and ultimately in 1832, because of the Treaty of Constantinople, Greece was declared as an independent nation. Now, you will be wondering, how did it happen? Overnight, how did it happen? How did the people of Greece feel that we are a nation and all that? See, this is what is romantic imagination and a feeling for the nation. Like, see, we have Germany. See, Johann Gottfried, he has said that the true German culture is with the local people, that is, the local people of Germany, whom he calls as the Das Volk. If you go to any place, you will see that in the cities, people speak their native language but with a mixture of other languages. But if you go to the village or the rural areas or the common people, you will see that the true culture resides with them. And this is what Johann Gottfried said. He said the true culture of Germany was with the common man. And you could see the true German culture through the folk songs, folk poetry, folk dances, and this had to be popularized, and that could be the that could bring about a unity of the nation. See, he laid emphasis on vernacular language, or the local language that was spoken by the people of any place, that is vernacular language. And that's the reason, see, we have two brothers who went from place to place. Where is it? Yes, see here. Jo- uh, Jacob and Wilhelm Grimm. They were born in the German city of Hanau, and they studied law, but still they wanted to keep, bring about the German culture and all that. See, as a child, you must have heard stories from your grandmothers and all that, isn't it? So these are the stories which are never written. They are passed on from one generation to another generation through the word of mouth. And this is what these two brothers did, Jacob and Wilhelm Grimm. They traveled through the villages for a period of 6 years, collecting the stories which were passed on from generation to generation through the word of mouth, and they gave it a written form. And today we all read it as the Grimm's fairy tales. You have read it, na? Cinderella, and then Sleeping Beauty and all that. So all these stories, that's what he said, na? What Johann Gottfried has said. See, the true culture of any nation resides with the common folk. See, Poland, it was taken over by Russia, and Russia, you all know, it's a very big nation, and Poland, being a very small nation, could never take up a war against Russia. So what did the people of Poland do? See, when they were taken over by Russia, they had to give up their language, their culture, their tradition, their festivals, everything. Then, how did the people of Poland protest? They started speaking their language. They started celebrating their festivals. They started following their customs and traditions. And that's the reason when in 1917, when Russian Revolution came about, when option was given to Poland, Poland was ready to break through. It broke away from Russia and it retained its culture. That was the type of silent protest, keeping your culture and tradition alive. See, and I have told you before also that paintings depict. See, here we have a painting by one of the romantic painters, Delac- Delacroix, who shows how nearly 20,000 Greeks were killed by the Turks, especially when they were demanding their independence. And through the painting, he has tried to bring about sympathy for the people of Greece, how the women and children suffered, how they had been, how the people of Greece had been massacred. Same thing in Jammu and Kashmir. You find that in Jammu and Kashmir also we have a way of telling about the political upheavals and all that. See, like we have Dastan Go, Ladisha. Ladisha is a way of political satire in a ghazal form. And then we have Ban Pathar, it is street plays. And this has been street plays, you think it is not from today, it has been from ages that street plays are there. And then in Jammu region, we have Bag, Bagtan, Karak, and all that. And but then folk tales, it has come from 11th century only. We had Somadeva who wrote Kathasarit Sagar, and this tradition has been on till today also. Even in this modern age, if you travel in the whole of Jammu and Kashmir, you will see Dastan Go, Ladisha being sung, and Ban Pathar being played on the streets, telling about the political upheavals, make in a humorous way. Modernization was coming about. People were moving towards the cities in search of better standard of living because jobs were available. In the villages, because of the heavy taxation, non-availability of earning, ways of earning, people started moving towards the cities. Cities became started getting crowded, but there was a decline in the manufacture or growing of the agricultural produce, because most of the peasants started, they had lost their land, they started moving towards the cities to work as unskilled laborers in the factories. But then there were weavers also who started moving towards the cities, because in the villages atrocities were being committed on them. But it was not all rosy for them in the cities. They also underwent lots of hardships. See, like in the year 1848, food shortages and widespread unemployment brought the population of Paris out on the roads, and Louis Philippe was forced to flee. A national assembly granted suffrage to all adult males above 21 and granted the right to work. National workshops or to provide employment were set up. But see, still, though uh, efforts were being made to bring about a relief, but not much was being done. Not much was being done. See, like in 1845, weavers of Silesia, they led a revolt against the contractors who used to give them raw material and expect finished goods, and when it came to purchasing of finished goods, they were paid very less, and naturally the weavers were always under the burden of debt. And that's the reason they led a revolt. They destroyed all their property and all that, and the contractors fled. They came back with their small army, and in that ensuing small war, many of the weavers were killed. What was happening in Europe was happening everywhere else, and same thing in Jammu and Kashmir also. In Jammu and Kashmir, the laborers and the workers were always the suppressed lot, always under debt, always being suppressed by the officials of the Maharaja. When the Maharaja introduced the rationing system, even that was not being done on a uh, uh, in a disciplined way. Corruption was at its height, and when the question came about collecting of revenue, even there commodities like fruit, ghee, honey, all this was taken. Illegal extraction also was there. The officers who came to collect revenue, they not only collected revenue for the king, they collected revenue for themselves also. And see, and the Shalbuffs, they were the most vulnerable section, though they brought in huge amount of revenue. Who are the Shalbuffs? Shalbuffs are those people who weave shawls and beautiful pashmina, kani, all these shawls, and they brought in huge revenue because these shawls were being exported, but they were the suppressed lot, never getting their due. So much so that they had sometimes they used to flee their places. They used to flee. The Shalbuffs, na, most of the Shalbuffs, they fled to Punjab and they set up their looms there just to escape the atrocities of the Maharaja's officers who used to come for the this one, what to say, in order to collect revenue.